All right, give yourself a big applause. Woo-hoo! I am so pickled pink that you're here. Did I tell you I love you a lot? I am really very proud of you. Because right now, you see, people say, well, I want to be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Well, what you do is you put God what? First. And there's going to be challenges. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of challenges. And if you do it the way God says do it, then you're in his what? Remember that? In his shadow. So, okay, God tells you to stay right here. Don't move. All right, got you covered. And his shadow's over you. And if you go, well, I don't want to stay here. I want to go over here, and I want to go over here. I want to go. No, stay in the shadow. You're protected in God's shadow. The name El Shaddai means he overshadows. That's what that means. Okay, so what I'm about to explain to you, what I'm about to teach, has nothing to do with politics and the world. It's funny because when the word says if this is happening, then you're going to get these consequences. And what's mind-blowing is that even though it's written 4,000 years ago, human beings are still the same. And governments are made out of what? Human beings. I know that's hard to believe, but it is. Corporations are made with what? Human beings. Not beans, frijoles, but you know. There are people that are in charge of these things, and people haven't what? Haven't changed. Maybe when they were babies, they got changed, but otherwise than that, the more you know the word, the more you understand how life is. And God does not what? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach on 3 levels. I teach from the beginners. I'm going to teach the intermediate. I'm going to teach for the advanced. So if you say, well, I'm more advanced than everybody else, well, let's see if you catch it. I'll be giving a piece from the basics, a piece from the intermediate, a piece from the advanced. Let's see if you catch it. It's a very important component. And I'm going to explain a lot of most of it. You're going to discover today what no one else has even noticed in the Word of God because they don't understand the importance of how the Word is written. Now, it's really funny. All right, I want you to give me a laugh. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. All right. It's real funny that all these books I have here and all those books over there are to understand this one book. Do you understand what I've had to go through just to be able to get inside this thing? All these. People say, well, I can do my own research. Okay, have at it. You're going to need a lot of books. And you're going to need to travel. And you're going to need to learn other cultures. And it's quite exasperating. By the way, this is my 7th Bible. I know. There's so much. And I'm going to share about that today. I'm going to go into the difference between the culture, the customs, and a figure of speech, right? So you're going to learn a figure of speech, you're going to learn the culture, you're going to learn the customs, and you're going to understand how God wrote his word. You'll be able to understand it. Thank you. So, Father, thank you for the greatness of your word. See from your perspective, to understand your wisdom, to truly be able to grasp each and every word and have your thoughts and images on each one, to be able to walk in this day and time with you dwelling within us and we walking forth, recognizing our position with you and glorifying you just as your firstborn from the dead are risen and returned, Lord Jesus, you're anointed. Okay, now you're probably wondering what the subject matter is. I'm going to try and give you a hint, all right? You ready for a hint? A good hint? Okay, here we go. Not good enough? Okay, let's try another one. Okay. How about this one? This will tell you what the subject matter is. You ready? All right? I know it's like, what? What? All right, let me give you a bigger hint. Here we go. There we go. How's that for a big hint? All right. Does anyone know what foot this is? It's the right foot. Not the wrong one. It's the right one. Oh, by the way, right is called dexter. The left is called sinister. So you're talking about someone's being sinister, it's because they're left-handed. You sinister person. Okay. Now, we've got to understand, God had to pack a lot in here, right? So there's basically 4 levels of understanding. Each scripture you read is in 4 levels of understanding. So now it's not really one book, it's 4 books. Well, really more than that, but anyway, at least 4 for this purposes, compressed into one book. So you may read something and you may recognize it and you don't miss the higher levels. You miss them entirely. So I'm going to try and see where everybody's at by teaching all 4 levels. And if you go, oh, I got that, and you didn't learn anything new, I really didn't do my job. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so here we go. Now, this is really important. Now, I want you to try and think. I know that's hard to do, but I want you to try and think. What would you do if you were God? I mean, from God's perspective, how is he going to communicate his thoughts, his images to us little meager, dumb shits, right? How do we do this? How is God going to do that? Right? So how do you communicate to someone in the shortest amount of time with the fewest amount of words and get the maximum amount of impact? How do you do it? How do you do it? Right? Well, you can use images, right? I'll show you an even better way because notice there's no pictures in here. So that doesn't help, does it? So God's got to use something other than images. I use images, I cheat, but God didn't use images. He uses what? Words, right? So let's examine some words here. Okay, does anyone know what this word is? What is that? What's a metaphor? It's not a for, it's a metaphor. Right? What is a metaphor? What does it mean when I say, you are an ass? What does that mean? What does it mean? You are an ass. What have I done? I didn't say you are like an ass. That would be a simile. Right? Because I'm making something similar. You are similar to an ass, right? That's what I'd be saying. But when I say you're an ass, all of a sudden he metamorphoses into big ears, a long nose, going, all right? So I have changed him from being a person into being a what's donkey in Spanish? Burro, right? There's good burros and there's mal burros. All right, anyway. So a metaphor is not saying simile, right? Similar. You're changing them, right? You're saying it that they are, and poof, they appear that way, right? So I sit down, I went into a beautiful restaurant, had wonderful surroundings, and I was like, oh, it's just really great. Music, everything was fine, people were fine. They got to the food, I took my first bite and go, oh, this is shit. All right, what have I done? I've turned it into human excrement, right? It's no longer food.
You get home from work and you say, I'm dead.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you're dead.
Right, that's a metaphor.
Rock.
I'm a rock. All right, that will work, right? Right, I understand. All right. Right. Speaking about Frank as a whole. No, I mean, who can give me some more? Give me a metaphor. Not the adjective or verb. You only change the noun. You got to change it into something. My work is a prison. You see what I'm saying? Now I've changed it from a workplace into a prison, right? My boss is a warden. All right, what is that? You see what I'm saying? How I can do that? That's a metaphor. You guys know English, right? What is it in Spanish? Metáfora. Metáfora, okay. Now, you can sit there and say, I'm tired of sitting on this. What? No, it already is a chair. A metaphor. Who gave me this marshmallow to sit on? You see? That's a metaphor. She turned the chair into a what? Marshmallow, right? Got it? That's a metaphor. You are my rock, right? You are my sunshine. Right? I've changed you into something else. I have morphed you into something else. Your smile is the wind that lifts my wings to the sky. Right? You see? Now I've got wings, I got sky, you got to think metaphors. I know, I'm a really metaphorical person. All right. I'm right? I'm adorable. All right. Anyway. Huh? My brother's a pig. Ta-da! There it is. That was really hard. I don't know your brother, but I'm sure. I got to make sure you understand metaphors before we metaphorically continue. All right. I am delight. Right? Okay, that'll work. God is the metaphors about God go unlimited. But I want you to think like that because God has to convey his images and his thoughts. How is he going to do it? This is a really tiny book. I got bigger books than this just to be able to explain this. All right, so how does it work? Now, how are you going to convey the maximum amount of information in the minimal amount of words? And that's what God has done. But I got to get you to begin to recognize metaphors. So when you say something to somebody, right? Like she said, you are my sunshine, right? And maybe sunshine's good or bad, I don't know. Maybe she's allergic to it. You are my rainstorm. Yeah, songs use metaphors. Think of some songs. Yeah, your love is a wrecking ball. The word is makes it that way. You just converted it. Yes. Oh, you are a thorn, right? How about you are a splinter in my brain? That's intense. By the way, that's a Bible metaphor, by the way. A thorn in my butt. A thorn in my flesh and thorn and scourge in my eyes, whatever. Is this making sense? You think metaphors are easy. All right, come up with some. I spend all day with a monkey at work, right? So that's a metaphor. You made that person, that kind of person. He's a monkey, right? You've changed him. Imagine you got a magic wand, okay? Magic wand, and you ding people, and you change them or things into things, right? Like you're a magician. I'm changing you into right? Some people say, in order to find the prince, you got to kiss a frog. What happens if you kiss a prince? If you kiss a frog, does she turn into a princess? I kiss a lot of frogs. No, you see, but you see the problem. I just said that some of the girls I kissed were frogs. Of course, that's not true. Not really. This guy is an absolute mule. This guy over here is an absolute freaking bozo. Right? I just turned him into a bozo.
What's a bozo? It's a clown.
Yes.
We are pillars.
We are pillars, right?
Or we are trees.
Or we are trees. If we're going to bring forth fruit, we got to be trees. I'm not a bank. Yeah, Yeah. What do you think I am? Okay. Do I look like a bank to you? Right? Or yeah, I've become a bank, right? That means I've been changed into a bank. To my friends, I've become a bank, right? All right, my life is a roller coaster. That person is a cancer to my thinking. Right? You see, by me giving you answers, that doesn't help. You have to understand how it links up so you can use it in your life, or else this whole class will not be of any value to you. You've got to understand metaphors and their usage. So when you spot a metaphor, you'll know it's magnifying something. Like, oh, she's a mud fence. All right, what am I saying? She's not very attractive. Was that making sense? So when you make someone something, you're expressing something that's more emphatic than if you just said, "Ooh, you are ugly," right? That doesn't work. We use metaphors all the time. I mean, all day long. But we don't think about what we're doing. And when we come to the Word, we totally exclude God and we miss the message that's being said. Because God's whole Bible, all of it from Genesis to Revelation, is all metaphors. Hypoconastasis and similes and oh my gosh. But without that, you ain't going to get it. You ever read Shakespeare? That's all metaphors. When you go into Macbeth or you go into Hamlet, he's all speaking in metaphors. He's putting the maximum amount of effort in the smallest and fewest amount of words. So you have to understand how to do that and start recognizing it and using it. Then when you come to God, you go, oh my God. Yeah, my God. Wow. Yeah. It blows your doors off. You don't have doors. See, you don't have doors. I'm saying you are a what? No, I didn't say you were doors. I was going to blow your doors off. What are you if you have doors? A house, a building, car, right? You need to express something, the feelings, the emotions, the care, the concern, the focal point, the priorities, how they're listed. Right, and all in one word. You're bringing everything in on one word. If I say, what's the difference between me saying, I'm going to have an operation or I'm going under the knife? You see what I'm saying? I'm going under the knife. I've just changed a medical operation into something much more scarier. I'm not just going in an operation, I'm going under the knife. Right. Well, because God, if you go, as you read the Bible, you don't stop at each word and say, okay, what would I have used? Why do I not understand this? Why did God use this word? Because you and I hear people repeat the scriptures and they don't get it because they didn't get the metaphor. Do you understand? There's a song, you're my soul and my heart's inspiration. You're all I have to get me by. Remember that? You're my soul. Then how are you, dead? How can a woman be a man's soul? You look at songs that are love songs that basically it's freaking socially accepted insanity. That's what anyone who's in that state, stay away from them, lock them up, put them in a straitjacket, wait for them to cool down. Quit shadowing me. See, we turned it into follow to being a what? Shadow. Quit shadowing me, right? That means he's really close to you and right behind you, walking with you, right? Right? Because you turned him into a shadow. Excellent. Good call. All right. How many here, okay, how many have been outside and seen my chariot? You see my chariot? You know how many horses it has? I just turned my car into a what? Does that make any sense? I'm expressing my car as being something more than just a car. It's my chariot, right? It's my chariot. We have these mobile eggplants. Chickens. Mobile eggplants. They produce eggs, right? I know. We don't. You know when you would plant an egg and then produce an eggplant, but this they do it without planting them. All right. What's your favorite part in the house? The bathroom? Okay. The kitchen? All right. So she does her magic in the kitchen. So I turned her into a what? Magician. You understand what I did? I just turned her into a magician. All right. If you haven't noticed, I read a lot, right? I spend a lot of time reading. I don't watch movies. I don't know sports, but I do read a lot. So I love metaphors. I know Shakespeare is one of my favorite. I love his metaphors. And I just like, and the Bible is the magnificent book of metaphors, right? But you understand metaphors. It's taking one thing and turning it into what? Another. Does that make sense? So all these metaphors that existed in the Bible. So if you read just any part of this, you're stuck where you're going to get hit with metaphor after metaphor after metaphor. And you're going, what the heck is this all about? Psalms have got metaphors in it. All right, so everybody understand what a metaphor is. You're turning something into something, right? All right, let's examine what a metaphor is. Anyone here bored so far? No, I'm trying to make this as intelligible and as learning as possible. Because this is a complex, if you go into English class, you're going, this is a metaphor. And then it's like, right? Do more than that. Okay, here we go. A metaphor is a figure of what? Speech that directly refers to one thing by mentioning another. It may provide clarity or identity, hidden similarities between the two ideas. So when you make that person he's such a cock, right? That makes him look like he's a rooster or whatever, right? So, or she's a mother hen, all right? So that means that she's always brooding and she's always, you understand, you make analogy, you turn somebody into something that really exemplifies their characteristics or the thing and its characteristics. Has everybody got that? All right? So when God uses metaphors, it's extremely precise. We use them haphazardly, but so let's proceed. We understand what a metaphor is. All right, so let's look at a simple metaphor, right? Proverbs 4:26-7. That's not very long, just 2 verses. Ponder the path of thy feet. Let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the what? Remove thy foot from evil. That's all metaphors. So here we got an interesting situation. What are the metaphors and what do they mean? So let's look at them. You ready? We're going to try and understand what that verse is talking about. So what the problem or the challenge God has is that he has to explain when you're born and you live at home and you live with people, your perspective of life is not right. All right? How many had a vision of what life was all about when you were 6? And how many had to change that when you were 12? And how many had to change it even more now that you're in your 20s? How many had to change it more when you're in your 30s? Right? Everything that you think you know, you find out it's totally what? Wrong, right? How is that possible? Because the knowledge you got was what you heard from others or what you apparently saw. That is empirical evidence. Because you've only got your ears, your eyes, your nose, your sensing, touch. So there's a problem. How do you go from here to there? How would you describe that? Because here, picture what it was like for 6, when you were 6 years old, what you went through in adolescence, because this bad boy is adolescence. And then reaching into adulthood. But not everything, because you still got to learn about relationships, you still got to learn about business, you still got to learn about economics, you still got to learn about science. But in one area at least, right? Whatever you thought you knew, it's not like it is when you're actually put in that situation. A person can read a book about swimming, and they can read all the books about swimming, but until they put their butt in the, Mr. Boutte in the agua, they don't know anything. They got to get in the water and start swimming. And that's where they meet the line. That's where they hit this. And they find out what works and what doesn't. That make sense? So you need a metaphor that describes this. Well, how long does it take to go from here to here? From here to here. And into here. How many? One day? No. How long is this? So what's the metaphor you would use? What's the metaphor you would use? Because this is not talking about a year. This is talking about what? Your whole life. Because you're always working to get rid of that which you thought was right and replace it with that which is right. When I first told everybody to start saving up and putting money, and don't put it in the bank, but keep it at home, leave only enough that you have to in the banks. I told you to start saving up money. I told you there are eventually going to be problems about getting food. I told you there's going to be problems that they're going to be closing down and sealing off the border. Does anybody remember that? Well, here we are. And you are all totally prepared, yes? Cool. So this is why it's very important to understand, well, how the hell did I know this stuff? Because everything goes in cycles, and there's no way, not bicycles, cycles like spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring, it goes up and it goes down. When things get abundant, you cut some of it off and you put it in the storehouse. When it goes down, then you take from your storehouse. And it comes up, you put it in your storehouse. The object is to stay. When things go up, you bring it down. When things go down, you bring it up. So you're always at a straight what? Line. All right. So how would you express this? Because it's not 1 year, it's a whole lifetime. So how would you express that in the metaphor? You understand? I need you to think. I'm sorry you're not here to be a parrot. You're here to think. Got to wind that little thing up. Hit the switch in the back. Those are all what? Metaphors. Right. Like that old fire. What's the metaphor you would use? What do you call this? What do you call starting off as a child that knows diddly squat, doesn't know anything, to an adolescent, to an adult with responsibility? What do you call that? What's the metaphor? What would it be? What is it? What is it going from 3 years old to an adult? What is that? What metaphor can you use? The question is, how do you get from here to there? And what would you use as metaphors to really explain and people get it? I'm giving you the problem God has. How are you doing so far? How do you relate to all the problems that you went through being a teenager to get into young adult? And how about all the problems you had thinking you already knew it and you didn't? You got your ass handed to you. Your donkey, all right? Donkey, they gave you, here's your donkey. You see, if I teach you stuff and all you can do is respond back to me and answer, you haven't learned anything. So this time, I'm going to put you in the situation, you're going to give me the answer. That proves that you understand. And then when you read the word, you'll get that much more understanding because you understand the concepts. Because I've been pumping and teaching, and people go, well, ask me the question that you taught. I go, where's the understanding? I want you to be able to pick up the Bible and go, wow! Because what I teach you is not only in one place, it's everywhere in it. I want you to be able to read the Bible and go, wow, that's a diamond. Look at the size of that ruby. Oh my gosh, solid gold. I've already gave you tons of hints. But anyway, here we go. How do you get from here to there? You ready? This is like really difficult. What's this? What's this called? Foot. All right. You walk. Walking is the metaphor. This, you're not walking with your feet, you're walking with your what? Mind. Well, you got tootsies in there? No. You're going from one state to another state. If I'm going to go from here to Nevada, what do I got to do? If I got a car, ain't got a bus, ain't got a train, ain't got an airplane, I'm going to have to what? But the walking is not done externally, it's done what? Internally. Okay. Is this making sense? All right, let's go back in the Bible times. How many times do you hear about automobiles? None. How much time do you hear about airplanes? None. How much do you hear about cruise ships? None. So how did people get around? Didn't they ride horses? Huh? Did people ride horses and asses and camels? Really? How many people you see riding those camels? There's nobody the camels are carrying nobody. Why? Because the camels are moving at, are you ready for this? 1.5 miles an hour. But they're carrying almost 400 to 500 pounds. Now, if you didn't have the camel, you'd have to carry it. How far would you go? So the idea that people rode these animals is bullshit. They show you this, but they don't show you what's in front. That's what's in front. What's he doing? Walking. Well, how long are these? 1,200 miles. It takes them almost 2 years to walk it. And they literally do what? Walk it. Even today. This is a current picture, by the way. Those are tennis shoes, not sandals. Still going on today. Well, what's in there? What's in there? Pardon? That's right. These are all trade goods. These are all tapestries, woven tapestries that he's taking to the market. And each one of these rugs weigh 25 to 30 pounds. And there's as many as 10 of them on there. All right, let's try another one. Here's a guy that's carrying salt. Is he riding on anything? No. You don't ride on your animals. They don't walk any faster than you do. Everybody walks at what? 1.5 miles an hour. But they carry 300 to 400 pounds. So you don't want to sit on top of that. The old camel will go, poof, legs go fly off on both sides. Remember they talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. You put your bootay up there, you're going to break the camel's back. Is that making sense? So people they had horses and they had cattle and they had ox and they had camels, but you didn't ride them. You walked along what? With them. Today, who's got airplanes? Why don't you just get in your airplane and go? You don't have a what? You got to buy passage on someone else's airplane. You don't have your own. Same thing as horses. People didn't have, it was expensive. You know how long it took to buy a horse? Or a camel? That's 3 years of labor to buy one of those. 3 years of labor to buy a camel. So when you sit there and say, okay, now I'm going to sit on it and ride it. I don't think so. You wouldn't do that to your camel. Just ride it. No, 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 no. It carries things for you. This guy owns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He owns a lot of camels. And he's got those that work with him. Each one is numbered at the 6th camel. So if they break and they start going crazy, the other one can take care of this 6. He can take care of his 6. He can take care of his 6. He can take care of his 6. So it's broken up. When do you have, so you ride an oxen? No, you don't. Well, oxens travel at 1 1/4 mile an hour. And what do? Well, you could walk alongside them, but it would be frustrating because you'd have to keep slowing down. So what you do is you just sit on top of the hay or whatever else you're carrying that they're pulling. Why don't you get in front of the oxen? Bad idea. You don't want to walk alongside of them. Why? Because they got horns. So to keep control of these guys, this thing's filled with it, but you get to sit up on top just to keep these guys under what? Control. Because they are so strong. And if you try to stop them, they'll just run you over. So you need to be up separate from them. But the only reason you have ox is to pull something really what? Heavy. You don't ride them. They hurt too. They got a really strong risen up backbone. I know I've been on a caribou. Oh, does it hurt? All right. Huh? They're really wide and that backbone is like really sticks up. I would put something like a big thick blanket first before you put your butt on there. But anyway. Now here, this is modern day Syria and Lebanon, same thing. And these people are transporting their goats from one place to another. And notice what are they doing? They're getting in their car. No. They're taking the bus. Nope. They walk their what? Their goats and sheep from one place, what? To another. They don't get in a car. They don't get on a horse. They don't get... No. You don't ride your animals. You'll damage them. You make them carry cargo, but then on the way back, you give them rest. You don't overdo your animals. They're not like cars. All right. So people didn't transport. Only the rich could ride a horse. They say, okay, I'm not using my horse for anything except for riding. So only the rich, like the king, merchants could have their own camel that they ride on, but almost everybody walked alongside their animals. You understand? And the animals carried all the weight. Everybody got it? So when you're reading the Bible, you have to be really careful that you don't get the wrong images. So what do you do when you walk for hours and hours and hours, 10, 11 hours every day? What do you do for those 10 to 11 hours of walking? You play your what do you call it? Walkman. You play your cell phones, and no, you can't. You don't got cell phones. What do they got? Huh? Your brain. What do you do with your brain? Right. What do you do when you walk? Got it? How many, when you're trying to think of something, get up out of your seat and take a walk? Somehow it just shakes the stuff loose out of your brain, right? I get up and I'll start walking around. Because you're designed to think while walking. All right, I'll give you an example before we take a break. All right? How many have ever walked into a room to get something, and as soon as you did, you forgot what you were there for? Why is that? All right, now, how many would like a hint how this works? All right, how many here have got eyeballs, right? You got the image, the thought, when you were looking at something in the other room. You left that thought there. From the room that you go, oh, and what did I come in here for? Go back to where you left the thought. Look at the object you look at. Bang, you get it back. Gotcha. Okay. And then you can go. How many have tried this? Works, doesn't it? Because the brain is an optical. It's a visual processor, not a thought processor. Go back to the last visual you saw, and there where your thought will be. Got it? People process images. The word think, you don't process. The word foot, you're processing. That's why I got the picture of the foot. Does that make sense? All right. So what do you do for 8 to 10 hours while you're walking miles upon miles upon miles? What do? You meditate, you think, and that's intense. This is everybody's getting to understand metaphors, right? Okay, good. Everybody understands about thinking. When you're thinking, when you're sitting down and you get up to do something, you forgot what you were doing. You got to go sit back down again and rethink it, right? Look at the same thing you were looking at. So every time when you move from one room into another, oh, shoot, what did I do? Forgot it. You get back and you look at the same thing you looked at when you got the idea. Bang, it works. The brain is an image processor, not a word processor. Okay? Ready for the next part? I'm going to blow your doors off. Your houses, you